Well, another day, another speed run. Make sure you give me a little like and subscribe to the channel. It's really weird winking, isn't it? It's just a weird motion. And I've now come over the 2000 range, which is quite a big milestone in anyone's chess. We're going to stick to the Jobava London. I'm going to follow my latest course, which you can buy from gingergem.com. And we're going to, again, have a look at what people do right at this grade boundary and what you need to do to get to what I guess is the next big stepping point, which is 2200. We've gone through a lot of the lower levels. I'm playing someone, a good player here, and blunders are much less likely to happen at this level. That's the first thing, getting rid of blunders. So double checking, getting a bit more used to chess and the patterns will be a very good building block for you. You've got to know your openings, you've got to know what middle games you want. This is stage 1 of the Jobava London, these 3 moves. Very easy opening to learn. This is why a lot of people love it. You don't need to spend ages learning it. You can just play these 3 standard moves. And now we're going to go for the move I recommend in my latest DVD. E3 was the other option, but this move's very interesting. Both of these knights now get misplaced, and now we go back to simple developing, stage 2. We want to get this bishop out, want to get this knight out maybe in castle. But we now move our knight back. It seems like we've lost 2 tempo, but this knight is very badly placed. And there's a little positional threat here of me taking this one. So my opponent guards against that threat and defends attack, should I say, b2. And again, when you get to this grade, you really need to know your basics, and you need to know what you're trying to achieve from the opening and what kind of standard responses do you have to standard ideas. Now I know that the standard response to this is knight a4 in the Jobava London. This is your normal way to meet this. Now I didn't calculate this. I'm just wondering if he can play these 2 moves now. Maybe I should have thought a little bit longer about that, because I might have to come in here. So this is actually a bit of a blunder on my part. I forgot b5, that I can't come in here. So yeah, I know it's a standard move, but obviously I made a critical mistake there. I didn't back it up with some basic calculation. Idiot. And we're now probably going to have to lose a pawn, because here b5, I don't have anywhere to put my knight. If my knight comes, I mean, I can come back, but actually this is just an idiotic move. So I know the standard idea, but you've got to calculate even things which you think, you know, if it's a position you haven't seen before, you've got to calculate it even at a basic level. And I didn't do that here. I just didn't do that. And I've lost the tempo, so I'm actually kicking myself for playing a little bit too, again, automatic. Never play automatic. So I'm going to have to move my knight back now. And I could be in a lot of problems now. Maybe this bishop comes to a3, which it does. And here I've got to play something like queen c1. This is a standard idea, this one, to defend, hopefully, because if I took that one, my knight gets captured, to defend against these threats. And I do have knight e2, and I might be able to get out of this. I don't think it's the end of the world losing this tempo, but I've lost a very important tempo. Okay, so knight here, and his knight's going to come in. This is quite annoying, obviously, and I probably will be losing a pawn here. I could just play here and give the pawn straight away. So I've got to start calculating now. If I go knight here, the knight comes in, and I can't defend that anyway. So I'm going to give this pawn up, because I'm going to lose it anyway. And I'm actually thinking I get quite a lot of dart squares, so it's maybe not such a stupid sacrifice. Okay, my opponent's ignoring it, and he's coming forwards. This check, he can take it, so we don't want to fall for that. And maybe I should capture now and bring my knight into the game here. I just want to get castled. Of course, you can always do this, but I do get some dart squares, so it seems like I might get some compensation. So even though I've lost like a whole tempo or 2 from that idiotic knight to a4, we'll have a look after the game what I should have done. This might not be so bad in actual fact. Okay, I have to move my king, not ideal, but I have a bit of faith in this piece. Maybe he can be annoying. Okay, he's come here. So my bishop I do like. So what do we do with this? Do we now start centralizing. My queen is not great. Do we bring the queen? Okay, let's bring the queen to a better square. And I'm thinking about using my dart squares to the best of my ability. I do want to develop my last piece. Okay, he comes in now. But what happens if I grab the pawn there? You should always look at the most critical move first. I don't see why I can't take that. This is only one check. I can move the king again. Why can't we take this one? And I will capture it. And now he's playing some very peculiar moves. Now I do have another check forcing his king to move. But I think I'm going to keep the queens on here, even though exchanging off is certainly not a big problem, because it seems to me like his king is weaker than mine, and you want to keep the queens on if you think your opponent's king is weaker than yours, because the queen is a very dangerous attacking piece. And I think my king can tuck itself somewhere over here. Now this check is very playable, but I'm going to keep that move. I'm just going to develop my knight. Obviously he can develop his bishop, which is a pretty decent move. And maybe I put my king on g2 here. That seems like a fairly safe square for my kings. Does this check really help? Or do I go quite aggressive with here and then ideas of this check? Then he goes f6. I'm not sure that helps me. Knight here, f6, check. Doesn't seem to help me. I'm kind of wondering whether he should be playing this. I'm thinking his knight is quite strong here. I'd like to get rid of this knight, ideally. Now, I'm not really worried about the queens coming off, but as I said, I'd rather keep them on. The reason I'm thinking a little bit about this is when he goes e5, my bishop's a bit short of squares. I don't want to make it short of squares, so it seems like this knight is holding everything up. Now if I take it, he puts his other knight there, so I'm kind of thinking, how do I get rid of this knight? Or do I just want to give this bishop an escape square here? Okay, I'm going to go h4, always a good move. Mainly because if he ever does play e5, I have one square for my bishop. Maybe I can move my rook up, and I know I'm allowing the exchange of queens, simplifying the position of both of us, but he's played pretty well since losing that pawn. And another idea I had here was to try to get rid of this knight. Now knight d2 is never working, but I've created another point for my knight on this square, because as we've located, it's really working out what his best pieces were, and this knight to my eyes looked like one of his best pieces, so I'm trying to exchange that one off, which I have done now. Okay, but he's got this making my bishop a bit bad, and if I check, does this help? Not really. So let's bring the bishop back here, because I have options of coming over here. And I think he's played pretty well here. Now my bishop's not a good piece now all of a sudden, because he's blocked it out with these two pawns. And what is my bishop doing over there? Well, it's not doing a great deal, but I'm not sure where else to put it. I've got to start moving a bit quicker as well. He's playing very quickly, this guy, but at least let's gain a tempo. Now how do I ever get that bishop out? I need to break down these pawns, so I need to play like f3. Try to release my... Okay, this might be a very clever move, actually. I don't know. So I'm going to win the exchange, but he's trying to trap my bishop. The thing is, my bishop does have the f8 square. I mean, this is either a really good move or a really bad move. And one thing I'm noting, even at this level when you're playing a strong player, and he's probably doing fine here still, is that they're not using their time. I mean, if you're playing at this speed limit, surely just play a 3-minute game. Play at a quicker time limit. Now this might be clever, because my bishop, he might still be doing alright because my bishop is still bad, but I mean it's quite peculiar at the speed he's playing at. Now my bishop is really bad, and again he's stopping f3. So how do I get out of this predicament here? So maybe I'm still in still in trouble. I've played a couple of bad moves in this game. Right from the beginning I've played some bad moves, as you know. Do I play here and give up a pawn to try and free up? Does that help? No, I don't like passive positions. This one doesn't help. I need to get this rook in, but then he's going to come here. It's a very tricky position, actually, so much trickier than I had imagined. Okay, we're going to do this, which I'm not convinced about, but I want to at least try and get my pieces a little bit active. So but this king, yeah, this is really, I'm going to have to give up another pawn because this one's coming in just to save my bishop. So not particularly happy with the way I played here at all. Disappointing game so far. Can we come back? Because this rook's coming in. That's so powerful. And I want bishop f2, but I realise I can't do that now. Have to try to activate my rook, but I'm really worried about his rook coming in here. So I'm trying to activate my rook as much as I can. Dangerous players at this level, don't get me wrong. Very good players at this level, as I'm finding out. And you can't afford to play sloppy moves, as I have done. I'm not worried about losing a game, it happens, but not an impressive display from me so far here. He should be doing very well here. My pieces are very bad. He's got stuff like this coming, and of course my pawn here. So it's a grim, actually a very grim position this. Don't want to play this move, but what else can I do? Yeah, this is losing. We'll have a look at this afterwards. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure my opponent hasn't used the computer this time, as in the other games that I've lost. I think this is more, I mean, I'm nearly in Zugzwang here. This is more just me playing like a wally. I can't really do anything here, so I might even resign. It's that bad, this position. And I had a decent middle game, but I let him kill my bishop with this move, didn't I? That was actually a big mistake on my behalf. I really couldn't have allowed that. And the reason this is losing is just because my rooks are so bad here. They're so bad, and his pawns are just going to come down. Now my only chance is to try activate my rooks or cause some problems with this pawn, but it's so easy to do something. Okay, well, I'm not sure he should allow me to get my rook behind the pawn, but he's now trying to mate me with this one and this check, and this is crushing. So yeah, I mean, it's been losing for a while, but this is a killer, isn't it? This check is also just coming and winning immediately, and I think after this I resign, yeah, because he goes here and here, and that is that. After this, my only way to crawl on is king e1, and I've got one idea, but it's so slow pushing this pawn. This is the only try I've got, but it's losing pretty standardly. Even this pawn coming forwards would be quite a nice way to finish the game, but this is very strong as well. And just going here, and that will be the end of that, as we see. So well played from my opponent here, and pretty bad play from me, which happens occasionally. Don't beat yourself up, which I will be. I'll be fucking beating myself up after this one. I never like losing, but how he can make me like this or like this, and there's nothing I can do. I haven't got stalemate ideas. I need about 3 more tempo here. He's going for this move, which he didn't need to do. He could have just moved his rook there to try and come to the back rank. This is a rather peculiar way of trying to win. Still obviously completely winning. His 2 passed pawns are just going to come down and win the game. There's not much I can do about them. And also he's still got these threats of checkmate. So yeah, this is pretty straightforward stuff, isn't it? You want to, when you're in a rook ending, you want to be able to check the king on the long side, but I'm checking on the short side here. So ideally I'd want to check on the other side. But checking on the short side is not as good because your rook gets attacked as it is now. But we might as well make him win this because he hasn't played the most accurately to do it. And now he's got to find somewhere for his king to go to. And that last move of his, he's got to wriggle his way all the way back, which is indeed the right way, and we resign. Okay, so that's a disappointing game for me. No doubt about that, but it's quite easy to know where my mistakes are made. And the first one, quite ridiculous, was I just played knight a4 without thinking. I just play something like, I just play rook b1, a simple move here. You don't need to play this horrible move, and this kind of annoyed me quite a lot. Now I'm assuming this doesn't work, right, because of b5, yeah? So is this right? Yeah. So that was silly. And then later on, I got back into the game, and actually I've got a very nice position, and I threw it away again. So I did two horrendous mistakes, and I feel like my position is pretty good around here. But the first thing I should do, I probably have to give a check so my bishop can pop in here after some exchanges. And I already feel that maybe this h4 idea is not right, and that I played a little bit slowly here. I've got a big advantage here. If I want to swap queens, I should do it. I think this is alright, keeping queens on. But now, this knight f3, I don't know, it just seems a little bit slow. And we'll just put it on analysis. Let's see what the computer also thinks. First of all, after queen b6, computer just thinks of course a3. I actually know a3 is the move here, and it's really good to remind yourself when you lose a game or something goes wrong in the opening what the right move is. So I know the h file's cut off here, so we'll just adjust the board. And I know it's a3 here, but again, my memory, because I do so many different openings and I'm talking, it's not always as good as it should be. But of course a3 is just the way to do. Actually, this is the move that makes queen b6 look stupid, because the point is if he takes here, then knight a4 traps the queen. This is a very common idea. Annoying that I didn't know that. And this a3 move is useful because it stops anything coming to this square, and I can now probably have ideas of this, or just b4. So that's the opening idea. But then if we go to the middle game, and I just really underestimated the how bad my bishop was. So that was very bad. But if we go back to around about here, then what should I be doing? And knight f3 was a little bit slow. So in this position, it should be, I had the right thought process. And again, you've got to be very critical of your own ideas, and you've got to learn from your losses. And the right thought process is that his pieces here are very bad. So it's not really about my pieces, because I can't really do anything that exerts pressure straight away here. What I can actually do is think about his only good pieces, which we've located as his knights, and I just aim to get rid of them. Very simple. So rather than putting the knight on this square, which isn't a developing move, but it's too automatic, I'm not getting to the essence of the position. And the essence of the position is this knight needs to be removed. And if I play a move like this, he's in a lot of trouble. So I had that sort of right concept, but I played it in the wrong move order. Again, it's getting to the essence of positions. And if you're not really understanding what you're doing in a middle game, then make sure you look really deeply afterwards and work out why you've not got to the crux of the position. And a disappointing loss there, probably the first loss I had who hasn't been a cheat on this, but we'll see if we can do better in the next game. Well played to my opponent who made life difficult for me and finished the game off nicely, even though I got myself in such a pickle. I didn't get any activity, so very tough game for me there. Wah, wah. Wow.